What is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about an inmate raping his cellmate in prison. Now, apparently this happened in Risley jail. I don't really know much about Risley. All I can remember about it is back when I was doing time, Risley was known as like a nonce jail, a wrong-un jail. So if you were like a rapist or a wrong-un, they would send you to Risley. I don't know that for a fact. That's just like, I seem to remember that Risley was known as a nonce jail. So it don't surprise me that somebody's been raped. Now, apparently what's happened is, so two guys who were both in for rape, both a pair of wrong-uns, both celled up together, and one of them has strong-armed the other one, and he said, I think he said, this is what it said in paper, he says, I'm going to make you feel how you made your victims feel. Which, you know, that would be quite a noble thing, but he's a fucking rapist himself. So, fuck these guys. And this guy, one of them, the one that raped him, was in for chasing a 17-year-old girl down, throwing her to the floor, assaulting her and pulling her knickers down and all that weird shit. And what a surprise, he's got one of those unga bunga names, Xavier Vashkov, whatever it is. And, you know, it sickens me. It seems like every single day we'll put the TV on and something weird's happened. Some sort of rape, some sort of stabbing, and it's always the weird names. And, apparently he's raped him, said that to him, and then he's just gone to bed, and the next day his cellmates grassed him up and been arrested. But, you know, once you're known as a victim, that's it. Everybody will pile on, everyone will take advantage, everybody will come after you, and your time will be a million times worse. And I've seen it happen. I've seen a kid in Morelands got raped, and they moved into Doncaster, and everybody just used to take the piss out of him. He was a victim, so on top of getting raped, he was also getting bullied. And how it all starts is, it'll start off like, there'll be some big dude and they'll go after some smaller inmate, say, oh, can I lend this off you? They'll lend it, and then they'll not pay him back, and then they'll go again and say, oh, I lend this, and they'll say, no, you didn't pay me back, and they'll say, well, I'm just taking it. And then more and more people get involved, and before you know it, everybody's taking a piss out of you. So I would say, if anybody tries taking your cheeks in prison, then that's a fight to the death. It's as simple as that. Live or die. Because if you let them do it, then you're just going to be a victim, and you're just going to get bullied every single day. And I've seen it 100 times. I've had people come after me trying to bully me. Luckily, you know, I'm not a divvy, and I had all the Donny lads behind me as well. I remember in Doncaster when it first opened, it was a real tough prison when it first opened back in the 90s. And I remember it was under YOs, and there was this big black dude, big muscly bloke, proper bully he was. And he came up to me and he said, I can't remember exactly, but he was like trying to give me a quarter of tobacco, saying, here, take that, and just give me 5 packs back. And I'm like, I don't want it, you know, what the fuck do I want that for? I don't want your tobacco. And he was like getting more aggressive, saying, here, just take it. I said, I don't fucking want it. And it ended up, I didn't take it, but he was getting loud and aggressive. So I went back to the Donny table and we all like discussed it. And what happened was, a kid called Tosh from Donny went in the showers while he was in there and put it on him to fight him. And a typical bully, you know, instead of like going in there, banging it out, taking his licks. You know, if you're a bully, if you're a tough guy, then be a tough guy. Instead of doing that, what he's done is he was getting beat, so he's picked up a plastic chair, which you get them in the showers in prison. People take them into the showers and just sit on the chair while they're in prison. They're only like plastic chairs, can't do any damage. But this big bully guy is getting beat by Tosh, so what he started doing is banging this plastic chair on the floor, banging it on the wall, screaming, ah! And what he was doing was shouting the screws, saying, come and please help me. He wasn't actually saying that, but that's what his actions were implying. You know, instead of taking his legs, he made such a noise that all the screws had to come in and rescue him. And like I said, typical bully, going around trying to strong arm smaller, weaker people, but then as soon as someone same weight, as soon as someone who's about that life puts it on him, crumbles and shouts for the screws. But you know, if you do get taken advantage of, if you haven't got people to back you up, if you don't stick up for yourself, then it just gets worse and worse and worse, and then you become a victim. So yeah, this guy gets raped by his cellmate, and the guy who raped him, apparently he was due out next week, because of course he'd have only got like a couple of weeks in prison. Surprised he was actually in prison these days, because you know, migrants can go around raping kids and nothing happens. But if you're an Englishman and you shout at a police dog, or you know, if you talk out about the government, then you go to prison, you get cancelled. Because that's what they're doing, they're cancelling everybody. See, the government have ruined this country. When has England stopped being England? Because I go outside now, I don't recognise this anymore. Like, when I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, you know, England was a well-respected country. Everybody knew there was good, strong English people, you know, polite gentlemen, but if you mess with them, we were known as like fair but firm. And I always remember some guy from the war saying, if ever I go to war, I want an Englishman by my side, because even though you're around death and violence, the Englishman will stand up with a cup of tea and say, well, come on then boys, we better get to war. Come on wankers. And then they'd go to war. And that's what we were known as, you know. We were known as wicked sense of humour, good, gentle people. But, you know, if you messed about, then you found out. But now, it's not like that anymore. The government has let in so many illegal, dangerous immigrants that the whole country is knackered. And if anybody talks about it, if anybody questions it, you get cancelled. You get phony charges put on you, like Andrew Tate, because he's been talking out. Tommy Robinson, Russell Brand. These people have all spoke out about the government and immigration, and they've all been whacked with phony charges. Tommy's going to end up getting 2 years for telling the truth. Andrew Tate, they said he was, I think they're saying he was trafficking women. Now they're saying he's been doing stuff with minors. You know, they're trying to shut down all his stuff, and they can't do that. So now they're making up charges, and that's what they do. They just cancel anybody. They ruin the country and then cancel anyone who tries to talk out about it. Same with Tommy. He's going to get 2 years in prison just for telling the truth, which is crazy. But if you're a migrant, you can go around raping children. You won't even go to prison. And I'm going to call it now. Right, the next person that's going to get cancelled is going to be Jeremy Kyle, because he's been talking out about immigration. He's been talking out about the government. And I've never really watched Jeremy Kyle. Weren't a fan of his show, but he's been talking out about immigration. And I noticed Sky last night did a video about him, about some guy who committed suicide after his show. And so what they're doing is, because Jeremy Kyle's talking out about the government and immigration, they're going to say, well, how can we turn people against him? You know, how can we get him cancelled? So I wouldn't be surprised if they throw some phony charges on him, call him a wrong 'un, and you know, and he gets cancelled. I'm calling it now, because that's what happens. First they shut down everything, and then they throw bogus charges on him, just to keep everybody quiet, keep everybody in line. And that's the world we live in now. I mean, you look at London, absolute mess. I remember as a kid, I used to go and visit my uncle Alan Sunderland. He played football for Arsenal. He actually scored a winning goal in an FA Cup once. And we used to go and visit him in London. It was a lovely place. Expensive, but it was lovely, clean. You go there now, it's fucked. You know, it's just war zone. Even saw Derek Chisora, a heavyweight boxer, and they said, oh, why don't you wear a nice watch? He says, fuck, I'd only get robbed anyway. And that's a heavyweight boxer. Because that's the state of the country now. You can't get in any doctors, you can't get a dentist, you can't get accommodation. You can't even get in prison now. There's no prison spaces. Country's absolutely knackered. And when does England stop being England? But anyway, that's the video for today. Yeah, don't be a victim in prison. If someone tries to strong arm you and take your cheeks, then it's a fight to the death. You know, because if you get raped in prison, then you're just going to be a victim, and everybody will take the piss, because I've seen it. I've seen what happens. It's horrible. But anyway, if you like the video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Bonjour.